Welcome to Healthy Frontiers. My name is Dr. Bizzoni. I'm a chiropractor, and this show is dedicated to the education of our viewers. The topic for tonight is senior living, and my special guest is Barbara Hanley. Barbara is a very passionate individual who has lived and continues to live a very fulfilling life with many accomplishments. Barbara has a BS degree from Fordham University. She has an MS in education from the City University of New York in New York. And she has a computer literacy certificate from Columbia University in New York. Her professional affiliations and honors include National Kidney Foundation United Network for Organ Sharing. She's been a counselor at the Bedford Women's Prison in Bedford, New York. She's received from St. Luke's and Roosevelt Hospital, the Wholeness and Life Award for Care and Compassion. And she's the founder of St. Luke's chapter of the ITNS. She's here today to share her insights on being a happy and healthy senior. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you.
Great to have you here today.
It's nice to be here.
Barbara, I know you're retired now.
Yes, barely.
But tell our audience about your early career and your involvement in the kidney transplant program from 1995 to 2015, a 20-year span.
Okay, I started, I was home with my children, and they were getting ready to go to high school and to college, and a little extra money was needed to pay these tuitions. Right. So I went back to work, and first job that I had in the transplant center was monitoring a new drug, which they were using for immunosuppressive agents. And it was brand new, and it was going to be presented to the FDA, and I did all the monitoring for that drug. And it was so exciting that transplant was just really in its early stages. It was really, we had kidney transplants, we were doing kidneys, and then we went to hearts and to livers, and now they're all the way up to faces. They were way ahead of where we were when we started. Sure. And when we started, I mean, it was, patients were in the hospital for a month. We wore masks and booties and all kinds of full gear to keep them from getting infected.
Right. Sure.
And then now they go in on Tuesday morning, they have the transplant, they're home on Friday, which is like
incredible.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. So that was a very exciting time in my life. Yeah. And I got to meet a lot of pioneers in the field.
Right, right. So when did it first start? You know?
Well, in 1954, Dr. Murray in Boston, he transplanted a kidney from identical twin boys. Right. And because they didn't have all the immunosuppressive therapy that they needed. And in the beginning, you had to match. You had to match the HLA matching. You had to match, the antigens. You had to match everything. Right. But now, with the new drugs, you really don't have to match anything. They just give them the drugs, and they go home, and they do very well. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it seems to be one of the more successful transplant programs, isn't it?
Yes, kidneys do very well. Yeah. Matter of fact, I just was visiting, and I saw one of our first patients. He's 43 now. Yes. He was 3 years old. And when he used to come, he used to sit. He was always cold. He used to sit underneath the radiator while he was waiting for his turn. Yeah. Now he's out working, and that's 40 years ago, which
that's fantastic.
Which is really,
oh my goodness,
it's such a wonderful feeling to see him get in the car. He says, "Get in the car. He's going to give me a ride."
Oh, that's terrific. So then, bring us fast forward to 1975. Dr. Hardy's work with dialysis.
Dr. Hardy came to Columbia Presbyterian from Einstein, and he opened up the dialysis center there, and then we started transplanting. And Columbia has a very, very involved program of transplant kidneys, transplant hearts, transplant livers, anything you have, even transplanting faces that you have now. You could get up in the morning and be somebody else.
Oh my goodness, could be scary. Okay, then in 2003, Dr. Alan Benvenisti at St. Luke's. Tell us about him.
Dr. Alan Benvenisti was a protege of Dr. Hardy's, and St. Luke's was looking to open up a new transplant center, and they asked me if I would go with him and do it. And it was a yeoman's job of work.
I'm sure.
By the time you got to get all the regulatory agencies from the federal government, from Washington, from Albany from everybody who was anybody had a piece of paper or a folder that you had to fill out and do.
Sure.
So we did that. We successfully reopened that, and it stayed open until 2014 when Mount Sinai now bought St. Luke's Roosevelt, and it's now Mount Sinai St. Luke's.
Right.
And since they also had a program, they closed the one in St. Luke's.
Right.
And
Well,
I had to retire.
oh, jeez. What a shame.
I mean, it was 78, but
And
no,
then
it
you
was
were
79.
At 79, forced to retire.
I was forced to retire.
That's great. Great. You're fooling us, boy. Okay, so, all right, you had such a colorful past, you know, in the dialysis program and all. So we're going to talk a little bit more now about, you know, a retirement for seniors, okay? You've had all this experience, you've worked hard your whole life, but, okay, so what is the best advice that you have for seniors who are contemplating retirement these days?
Well, an old lady once told me when I was a child, about 7 or 8, that this is not a dress rehearsal, you know.
Yeah.
She used to say to me when I would say, well, I'll do it next week. She
Right.
said, no, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is it. Either do it now or forget it.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's the best advice for everybody.
Right.
Either if you can do it, do it.
Right.
So you know what? The first thing I did when I retired, I always wanted to play the trumpet.
Okay.
I don't know why, but
All
I
right.
wanted to play the trumpet.
Right.
So I rented a trumpet and I rented a teacher.
Uh-huh.
And off I went to play the trumpet. Well, let me tell you, I haven't got the breath and I have no talent. so I did it, but I'm no good at it.
Oh, but you tried.
But
That's right.
it was a fun thing to do.
Sure, sure. And I'll bet you put a big effort into it yourself.
It did, but it was terrible.
Oh, there you
It
go.
was terrible.
So, okay, so that's the advice is let's try and, you know, do something.
Do anything that pleases you.
Yeah.
Something, and also you should do something for other people too.
Right.
If you can help some people, neighbors, or people in a center,
Right,
doing for other people gives you a certain satisfaction, gives you meaning to your life.
right, right. The rewards is more for you almost
So
than for the
than
person
the
you're helping.
person that you're doing.
All right.
And little things that senior citizens, I mean, would you bring some stamps? Would you address the envelopes? Would you fix my card for my birthday, for my grandchild? You know,
Right.
address the envelope for them. It's not a big deal, but to them, it's something that's on their mind all day. I want to send Marion the card. I want to send her the card.
Right.
And you come in and you do that and you take it to the mailbox and you've made that lady's day or that gentleman's day.
That's terrific. Okay, so what's the worst advice?
Is to do nothing.
Ah, okay.
You know, it's to say, oh, well, I'm just going to sit home and lay down and relax.
Right.
Yeah, well, you know, cleaning the house you can do for just so long, and, you know, then it gets kind of long in the tooth. It's overrated, this cleaning, house cleaning stuff. And, and so that you have to have some kind of a plan. You don't have to have it written out or anything. Just in your head, you're going to say, when I retire, I'm going to learn Braille, or when I retire, I'm going to learn to speak Japanese, or I'm going to play the trumpet, or
Right, there you go.
whatever it is that gives you pleasure.
How long before, if I could ask you, before you retired, your actual retirement, did you start thinking about it and planning and saying, you know what, I think it's time, and I think I want to do something else?
Well, after my husband died,
Right.
and that was 10 years ago, and then I began to think of what I'm going to do with my life. And
Yeah.
my grandchildren are able to take care for themselves. I mean, I see them a lot. I love them dearly, but they're not interested in spending their time going to the, you know, listen to me play the trumpet.
Right, right. Sure.
And you know, I mean, I see them often, very often, but I don't want to live their lives. They have their own lives to live.
Right.
They're playing basketball, they're playing football, they're playing soccer, whatever it is they're playing or going to. Oh, I participate as much as I can, but they're not that interested in the things that I'm interested in. And that's how it should be. They have their lives, and I have my life.
Right, that's great.
So
Great
that's
thoughts.
yeah,
Sure.
that's.
And so how do you feel about being a senior?
Well, I went kicking and screaming into the good night.
There you go.
I had, you know, like retired. What am I going to do?
Right.
What am I going to do when I'm retired?
Yes.
And there is an element of financial things too. You know, you say, I have enough money now, but if I live 10 years, will that money
Yes.
last? And you know, so that those are kind of things that you have to think about over in your mind and things like
Right.
that. But I figure now I'm going to be 80 this year.
Oh, you
So
look-
how much? How much longer am I going to make it that I need money to spend?
Exactly.
You know
Right,
that
right.
you get less and less of things that you don't need another pair of shoes.
That's
you
right.
don't really need another pair of shoes.
I don't know. The way you're always dressing.
I got on my blue suede shoes.
Oh, there you go. I love them. All right, so let's talk about your health. You know, you're getting into your senior years. Do you enjoy good health? You look like you're so healthy.
Yeah, well, I'm
Let's
not.
see what's going on.
I'm not.
Go ahead.
I'm better in person than I am on paper. On paper, I've had 3 strokes: Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear.
Gotcha.
Papa Bear almost killed me. I was paralyzed on the right side, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, and I did a lot of therapy.
Right.
Besides learning how to walk again and talk again and color and do all that, put the little box things in the little boxes, and I still have some deficit in my hand,
Right.
in my right hand. And then I had a second the stroke, which was the mama stroke, which has left my face here it feels like you went to the dentist.
Right.
You know, that kind
numbness
of face.
kind of feeling?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
numb feeling. A friend
Okay.
of mine said to me, you know, Hanley, 3 strokes and you're out. But here I am.
Hey, here you are, thank God. Oh, you have a lot to offer the world. What is the hardest part about writing? And I know, because we've spoken about this, that you love to write.
I love to write.
Tell us about
And
it.
my father was one of 22, 18 boys and 4 girls.
It's insane.
It is. And I had the pleasure of meeting 16 of them
Yes.
and knowing them. The other 4 didn't come to this country,
Okay.
but 16 came to this country. And we always had a lot of relatives. We had aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody coming
Right.
and going.
Yeah.
And I thought I would like to write that down because my children didn't meet all of them, only
Yeah.
met a few of them. And now my grandchildren, they only see them in pictures.
Right.
So I thought I would give voice to these pictures.
Right.
And I started writing, and I just loved it. And then I went over to Sarah Lawrence, which is fairly near where I live, and I
Right.
joined their writing. They have a writing institute there. And I go there 2 days a week now. I go to class 2 days a week. My grandchildren say, you're going voluntarily to school? What's the matter with you, Hannah?
Yeah.
But, you know, I mean, it's where you meet all these wonderful people who are writing, who have had wonderful lives, and some of them have had terrible lives.
Right.
But they are survivors. And I enjoy meeting them and being with them. And as I said, I was telling you, I have old friends and I have new friends, and now I got new old friends from this writing course.
Right. Which is terrific. We're looking forward to what you're writing. So let's go on to another subject about eating. Tell me about your eating.
Oh, now, what the right thing to say on a health program is that how important eating is. Well, I mean, it is very important, but
Right.
I know what I should eat, but I don't always eat what I should.
Right. Okay. All
You know,
right.
that
Okay.
ice cream is my downfall.
Right.
I mean, I could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and supper. Because once I brought my grandchildren, they stayed over, and I gave them ice cream for breakfast. Well, they decided I was the coolest grandma. They were coming here all the time.
That's right.
So my son said, "Hey, Ma,
Right.
cut that out."
Cut that out. That's right. Let's talk about your friends and your family and your grandchildren now that you mentioned that. Go ahead.
Yeah, though, let's see. I have 7 grandchildren.
Right.
One is in school in Northwestern. I have 2 girls. Well, one in Rye in high school, another one coming up to go to Rye in high school. 2 of them in grammar school, and 2 of them in the Bronxville school. So there's 7 of them all together, and they're very close. And you know what I gave them for Christmas?
What?
A trip to Ireland.
Oh, how
We're
wonderful.
all going. All 13 of us are going
Oh,
in
how
a
great.
bus.
Oh, my goodness.
And we rented a house.
Yep.
And I said to them, I gave them a card. So that at Christmas, instead of a gift, I gave them the card. And the card said, "This entitles you to a visit to your ancestors."
That's terrific.
So the one kid says to me, "Are we going to the cemetery?"
Oh,
I said, "No."
going to be a little more exciting than
I
that.
hope you'll enjoy it more than a
That's
visit to
right.
the cemetery.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more. That's great about what will happen with your writing as you go forward. Are
Well,
you thinking of a book? Are you
yes,
writing
I
a
would
book?
like to be the Grandma Moses
Okay.
of literature.
Right.
But it's not so easy because I
Right.
came late to this table, this literary table, and all the seats are taken. I'm looking for a place
The
for
point.
me.
Got it.
And I'm looking into like self-publishing,
Okay.
which I'm going to get somebody to do the typing because my hands don't type as well as they should.
Right.
It takes too long to do that typing. So I'm looking into that for the summer. And
What's a ghostwriter?
Oh,
You know,
those
is
are
that-
people. No, they don't. They don't do your typing.
Right.
I mean, they do your typing, but they do the words. I
Right.
want to do the words.
You're doing the words. That's
I'm
what I
doing
was
the
trying
words.
to get at. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is
It's
going to
all
be.
you.
This is all my experience with
Okay.
with these people that,
Right.
and they were very interesting. You know, they were in Ireland at the time of the Trouble. I don't know if you know what the Trouble is in Ireland. It was with the British and the Irish.
Flash.
That's putting it nicely,
Yeah.
clashed. But and it was the time of the famine, and some of them came during the time of the famine, and who died and who lived, and out of the 22, not too many of them, not as many children as you would think because a lot of them didn't marry. They were a lot of them were malnourished because you can't feed that number of people. So what happened was, like my aunt used to tell me that she and her brother Patty used to share an egg. I used to say, share an egg.
Yeah. That's
You know,
tough. Oh my goodness.
how would you share an egg?
Yeah.
And I grew up in Washington Heights, in the city, and a lot of things that were common then are gone now,
Right.
like refrigerators and the Iceman and the trucks that came with the horses. And I mean, and I'm not 150 years old. This
Right.
is, this is still
Not too long ago. Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Right.
That,
Yeah. Wow.
So I would like to write how the people from Ireland, when they came to this country, how they fared, and how their children fared. You know, whether or not they were able to. It's really a wonderful country. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, listen, I know what anybody says. It's a wonderful country.
Okay.
And you can come with a pound in your pocket, and you can end up in a university.
Yeah.
You can end up a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it is. If you really put your mind to it, you can do it. And I don't think you can do that
Very
in
readily.
too many places around the world.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. So when was the last time you were there?
I was there about 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, that.
Do you get back to see your?
I do, because the house where the 22 grew up, it's a farm. There was a farm there,
Right.
and on the back of the bedroom door, my grandfather scratched the names of each one as they were born,
Oh, geez.
and the date, and so that's how we figured out who was older than who, like
Right.
whether you were on the top of the list,
Yeah, right, or the
or
bottom.
the bottom of the list.
That's pretty cool. That's
So-
22 kids to try and keep track of that. Oh my
Keep
Lord.
track of them.
Yep.
That's right. And some of them were born after my father left Ireland, and he was dead before they got here.
Oh goodness.
You know, so there were several of his brothers that he never met.
Wow.
That,
That's a shame.
that they came later.
Yeah.
So I would like to just to leave that to my grandchildren and to my children and my grandchildren, the legacy of their families.
Right.
You know who those people are. Everybody's so interested in their ancestry. So
It's such a noble cause too, and it's just going to keep you so much more focused, right? And with the purpose there to get this done.
And you know, it's funny because other people who were there, they say, that's not what happened. I said, listen, I'm writing what I saw happen.
Right.
If you don't like what I saw, then you write your own.
We'll write your own version. That's right.
Write your own version.
Okay, so Barb, what about, and what do you think about your life, in general?
I think it's been a gift. And being a senior is a gift that not everybody gets.
That's right.
And I really appreciate that. And,
Yeah.
and I think that I have faith. I'm a practicing Catholic, and I have faith in God. And I think that He has helped me through a lot of situations. I mean, it hasn't always been, fun and games, as you can imagine. I lost 2 children. I had 5 sons, and now I only have 3 sons.
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of heartache and things
Right.
through the years.
Right.
And now I'm alone. I mean, my husband is gone. I'm by myself.
Right.
But I'm grateful, and I'm
Yeah.
and every day I get up and I say, "Oh, I'm going to school today." I'm thrilled.
That's amazing. I go to school. It's like in the 5th grade.
Go to school. I got to get my pencil box together and
That's
get all
right.
my things. my grandchildren gave me a pencil box, and I
Right.
have a couple of pencils and an eraser.
Right.
And
I don't know about that computer stuff, though, huh?
Yeah.
We'll go with the pencils and paper. Do you see roles changing for senior citizens these days?
Yeah, well, we're all living longer, and we're not sitting down. We need a voice. We have to have a voice. We have money to spend, and we have ideas, and
Right. And experience and so much.
Yeah, so the political scene, I think, should pay a little more attention to what seniors think, and give us a voice.
Right.
That
A platform to get that out there.
to get out there and to make these new accomplishments, make them count for something.
Yeah.
Make our lives count for something.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people from a lot of the other immigrants who have come, because I'm the first generation, a lot of immigrants who come, and they have so much to offer, and
Sure.
we need to embrace them and
Sure.
give them a place in life.
Yeah. That's great. That's great, Barbara. I'm going to read a passage from your book. Barbara's now is writing her book, and she's in the middle of it, so I happen to read a piece, and it's right in the beginning, and it says, "The calendar says I am an old woman. Most days I don't believe the calendar. I'm a practicing Catholic, widowed mother of 5 boys, grandmother of 7. Reading is my passion. Writing is my companion, and travel is my fun. Born, raised, and educated in New York City, I have lived most of my life in Washington Heights in the Bronx. Spent my professional life teaching and working in healthcare administration, caring for renal transplant patients, as we were speaking about. I believe, like Chesterton, that although everyone must die, an exception would be made for me. I have had to make an adjustment to that belief.
Yes.
Oh God, you made me like to know. You kept the thing straight in my head. Praise God, if you can make it so, let me know something when I'm dead." A excerpt from Edith Nesbitt's A Countrywoman's Philosophy. Barbara, that was great. I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for asking me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Thank
and
you.
You've enlightened a lot out there. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and for being so attentive. We'll see you on the next show. Thank you.